This is Jayson Gillham. So nice to have
Hi,
you
it's
here.
so good to see you, Jade.
You look like you were having a lot of fun yesterday. Did I detect
I
that?
enjoyed it, the
Did you?
performance a lot. Yes.
Yeah, and how are you enjoying your time in Fort Worth and at Best Hall?
Fantastic. The
Yeah.
people here are just so welcoming, friendly. My host family and my social hosts and
Yeah.
all the other people who are hosting me as well that I've
Sure.
met. Yeah.
Well, everyone has been saying the same thing about you, that you are just a treat, and I think we're a little bit swayed by the Australian/British accent. We're hearing a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So tell me, you're going back and forth. You're Australian, but you live in
I live in
London. Yes.
That's right. I've been there for 6 years. I moved there when I was 21 to do a master's for 2 years at the Royal Academy of Music, and I've stayed there ever since. But I travel back to Australia once or twice a year, give concerts,
still
see my
performing.
family.
Tons, yeah.
Yeah.
You said that some of your earliest childhood memories, and I can definitely relate to this, are being in the car, trekking back and forth to piano competitions.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'd be gone for 1 or 2 days just to get to the competition.
I know.
Tell me about that experience
My
when you were
first
younger.
teacher, he really encouraged me to enter competitions, even if they were small things, when I was quite young, and he put me in like open age categories or like 30 and under or something when I was like 8 or 9 or something.
Wow.
Yeah, just to kind of give me experience. And then so once we drove like 2 days to Melbourne, or we drove like a day to Sydney, just to go to these big cities where I could play in the competitions.
Well, that means that, like many of the competitors, you have parents who have been extremely supportive, probably sacrificed a ton for you to be on the stage here today,
Well,
right?
I say that to them, that you've sacrificed so much, and they said, "Oh, you've given us something to do."
That's
you
right.
know? As parents,
Parents
of
are
course, we wanted to
thankful.
do that.
So tell me this, I'm dying to know. When you look at the way the media portrays things going on in London, we assume that everybody is obsessed with William and Kate. Is that actually the truth?
No.
Okay,
That's
so
the
you're not all
popular
watching
media.
Kate's bump and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, I didn't think so.
Not really, no.
Not really.
No,
But it is, I
it's
think, for
fun
us,
as
it's
well.
fascinating because we don't have that set up here.
Any kind of royal event, like the royal wedding was really huge. But I think the Olympics in London really trumped that.
Of
you
course,
know,
of
that was
course.
the big event in London last year. And
You know, speaking of Olympics, one of your fellow competitors, Lindsay Gerritsen, said that if she weren't here competing, she might be trying to train for Olympics in swimming. Do you have any other interests that you pursue almost as strongly as piano?
Not as strongly, no. I mean, I have interests, but I don't think there's anything else that I'm as good at
As
that
good
I
at
would want to
yoga,
do.
though, I hear.
Yeah.
Are you pretty hardcore about it?
No, I do
Not
it
at
just
all.
for like personal development and a bit of kind of fitness and flexibility.
I was
and
imagining
that
you
kind of thing.
backstage in downward dog.
Yeah,
like,
but the thing is, you see, I sprained my ankle a few weeks ago,
no.
and so I haven't been able to do anything. You know, I was in a cast for 3 weeks. I wasn't sure if I'd be able
Could
to
you
come
pedal?
here. I couldn't use the pedal. It was a left leg, so I couldn't use the unicorda pedal.
Yeah.
But fortunately, it all came right just like within days before I got on the plane to come here.
That's perfect.
So, yeah.
Well, we couldn't tell anything was bugging you at all on the stage. Tell me about your programming. Everybody's very excited about the fact that you get 2 chances to really put yourself on display. Everybody really, even though it's more work, everybody really seems to be thankful for that opportunity.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I've been in a couple of other competitions where we've had that opportunity, but most they eliminate after every round, and you might have 80 people in the first round, and you play 20 minutes, and you've come halfway around the world.
For that 20 minutes.
And for someone from Australia, when I lived in Australia, it's kind of a real deterrent to even entering the competition, because you don't even think, well, I might only be playing for 20 minutes, and I've had to go halfway around the world to do this. You know?
Sure.
But so this is a really amazing opportunity to play twice substantial recitals,
Really
45
substantial.
minutes. So
That's right.
you can play something of every style or everything.
Which you did. I mean, you did the lady yesterday, which is wonderful. How much fun. And just that. And then in the second recital, what are you looking to do? What are you trying to show us in that second? You're doing Beethoven and Liszt, right?
Yeah, so quite serious. Yeah.
So you want to show that you can handle the big meaty stuff, right?
Yeah, the Beethoven is really personal to me. I feel like it's almost my piece now, although it's probably newer for me than some of the others.
The Waldstein,
right?
Yeah,
the Waldstein. It really speaks to me personally. So
but you know,
I'm
the
hoping
trick,
it will go well.
The trick is that piece speaks to everybody personally. So
I
how,
know.
when you come on stage, when you're playing such a popular piece that so many legends, dead and alive, are still carrying, how do you bring Jayson to the Beethoven in that, and you still relate it to all of us with very personal ideas of how it should go? What do you think about when you're playing something like that?
Well, I think the starting point for my sort of interpretation is to think, what might the composer have been thinking? And I think most musicians try to relate it to the composer and what they really wanted to say in the music. But then, I mean, of course, there's a personal side. I play Beethoven in the sort of Jayson Gillham way, I guess, you know, but I can't really define exactly what that is. You know? As long as I can, if there's something in the music that I can relate to, then it becomes a personal thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then you can feel like it's yours and you own it a little bit, no?
Yeah.
So at the end of this grueling 17 days, aside from one of the finalist slots or the gold medal, what do you think you'll be taking home with you from this experience?
Oh, it's just the people here, they're amazingly
Everyone's
generous,
saying
you
that,
know. I mean, it's been organized so well. So many volunteers and the host families. It's a unique experience.
How are you dealing with all the media? Has that been something?
I'm okay. You know, I've had ups and downs with that, really. You know,
it's tricky.
But on the whole, I've enjoyed it.
Well, that's good. Well, we really enjoyed you here. It's just been an honor to get to know each of you. Have you feel like you had time to make any friends with the other competitors at all?
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of them from other competitions, and so. But in other competitions, if you stay in the same place, you kind of eat all your meals together, and you have much more time to speak to the other competitors. Whereas here, it's more about getting to know the people from Fort Worth, which I really like.
Well, that's good, because we really like you, Jayson. Thank you so much for taking the time to come spend with us here. We're going to move on now to our final performer.